The Great Pyramid of Giza stands under the sun of the Egyptian desert, massive and unwavering. For thousands of years, it has endured wind, sand, heat, time, and the rise and fall of empires. It is older than most of the civilizations we study. It existed before the invention of paper, before ironwork, before the idea of global navigation. It is ancient beyond imagination. And yet, its design is so precise, its geometry so exact, that even modern engineers pause in astonishment. The Great Pyramid is not just large. It is mathematically perfect. Its base is aligned almost perfectly to the cardinal directions, deviating only by a fraction of a degree. Its sides form angles that require advanced geometric understanding. Its internal chambers are placed with extraordinary precision, and its construction required moving and positioning millions of stone blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons each. When one stands before the Great Pyramid, a question rises almost instinctively: how was this built? And who possessed the knowledge to build it? Traditional archaeology provides one answer. According to the academic view, the pyramids were built by the ancient Egyptians using organized labor, simple tools, ramps, and decades of persistent effort. The pyramids were tombs constructed under the order of pharaohs. The power of the state, combined with religious devotion, allowed thousands of workers to come together in the service of their ruler. This explanation is widely taught. Yet it does not satisfy all who study the pyramids closely. Not because ancient Egyptians were incapable. They were brilliant craftsmen, mathematicians, and astronomers. But because the scale, precision, and speed of construction remain incredibly difficult to explain using only the tools and techniques known to have existed at the time. The more we examine the pyramids, the more questions appear. How did the Egyptians align the pyramids so precisely to true north without modern compasses? How did they lift stones weighing tens of tons to heights of more than 100 feet? How did they carve granite with copper chisels, when granite is significantly harder than copper? How did they achieve internal symmetry so exact that lasers and satellite scans reveal errors measured in mere millimeters? These questions form the foundation of the ancient astronaut hypothesis. This hypothesis proposes that in the distant past, intelligent beings from beyond Earth may have visited the early civilizations of humanity. These beings may have possessed technology and knowledge far beyond our own. They may have shared some of this knowledge with humans, or they may have directly overseen the construction of monumental structures such as the pyramids. This hypothesis challenges traditional views of history. It does not deny the intelligence or capability of ancient humans. Instead, it suggests that human civilization may have received guidance during its early development, and the pyramids may be evidence of that guidance. To explore this, we must look not only at Egypt, but at the entire global context of ancient architecture. Across the world, civilizations separated by oceans and continents constructed pyramidal structures. The pyramids of Mesoamerica, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, the pyramids of China, and even structures in Europe all share fundamental geometric features. Many of them are aligned to celestial bodies. Many of them appear to encode mathematical or astronomical knowledge. If these cultures developed independently, how did they arrive at such similar architectural and symbolic forms? One answer is coincidence. Another answer is shared human cognition. But there is a third possibility: shared influence. Proponents of the ancient astronaut hypothesis argue that extraterrestrial visitors may have interacted with multiple human civilizations across the globe. These visitors may have taught techniques of architecture, mathematics, and astronomy. The pyramids of Egypt, they say, were not merely tombs. They were intentional markers, messages, or instruments of knowledge. To consider this hypothesis seriously, we must examine the evidence. Not the myths alone. Not the assumptions alone. But the physical, measurable, undeniable evidence of engineering and design that the pyramids present. First, we consider scale. The Great Pyramid originally stood at a height of about 146 meters. For more than 3,000 years, it was the tallest human-made structure on Earth. It held this record until the construction of medieval cathedrals. Yet those cathedrals were built with steel tools, iron reinforcement, wheeled machinery, and written engineering plans. The pyramids were built with none of these. Second, we consider precision. Modern surveyors have measured the base of the Great Pyramid. Each side differs in length by less than 2 inches. The entire foundation has a deviation of less than 1/10 of a degree. Even with modern construction techniques, achieving such precision on that scale requires advanced planning and technology. Third, we consider alignment. The Great Pyramid is oriented to true north more accurately than most modern buildings. Achieving this requires knowing the rotation of Earth and the movement of the stars. It requires precise measurement tools. And it requires timekeeping methods capable of tracking celestial positions. Fourth, we consider materials. The granite used in the King's Chamber was quarried in Aswan, more than 800 kilometers away. Transporting these stones would have required a logistical effort of enormous scale. The cutting techniques appear to leave marks that resemble modern machine tooling rather than simple hand chiseling. These features form the basis of the mystery. Traditional archaeology explains these achievements as the result of ingenuity and labor. But if we look beyond conventional assumptions, another possibility opens: that ancient Egyptians may have had access to knowledge they did not originate. Knowledge that was given, or shown, or demonstrated. This knowledge could have come from a culture older than Egypt, a lost civilization that collapsed before recorded history. Or it could have come from visitors not of Earth. To explore further, we must look at the mythology of Egypt. For in the stories of the Egyptians, the gods are not distant spirits. They are described as beings who walked among humans, beings who arrived from the sky, beings who taught agriculture, writing, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and architecture. They were depicted not as metaphors but as instructors. If these myths preserve historical memory, then the pyramids may be the physical legacy of contact between humans and a more advanced intelligence. The Great Pyramid of Giza represents one of the most extraordinary engineering achievements in human history. To build it required not only physical effort, but also planning, measurement, and knowledge that continues to puzzle modern experts. To understand why the pyramids challenge conventional explanations, we must examine the technical questions surrounding quarrying, transportation, carving, lifting, and placement of the massive stones that form the structure. The first challenge was the stone itself. The majority of the pyramid is composed of limestone blocks quarried locally. But the most important interior structures, including the King's Chamber, are constructed from granite. Granite is significantly harder than limestone. It cannot be cut accurately with copper tools, which were the main metal available to the Egyptians at the time. Copper is soft. It bends, deforms, and loses shape quickly when used to strike granite. Yet the granite within the Great Pyramid was shaped with extraordinary precision. The surfaces are smooth. The edges are straight. The corners are sharp and true. Some internal granite beams measure more than 60 tons each. These beams are positioned high inside the structure, stacked in ways that require advanced knowledge of load distribution and stress. The existence of these stones is one of the greatest puzzles of the pyramid. How were they cut? How were they transported? How were they lifted and set in place? Mainstream archaeology suggests that stone was cut using copper chisels and pounding stones. But experimental archaeology has demonstrated that these methods are slow, inefficient, and cannot produce the clean, machine-like edges seen in the pyramids. When modern researchers attempt to replicate the cuts using copper chisels, the tools must be sharpened constantly. Even then, the surfaces produced are rough and uneven. Yet in the pyramids, surfaces are flat to within fractions of a millimeter. Another explanation suggests the use of sand as an abrasive. Sand can cut stone when used with enough time and force. But this method is slow, inconsistent, and difficult to control at scale. The precision in the pyramids suggests something faster, stronger, and more accurate. Some theorists propose the use of tools unknown to modern archaeology, such as saws tipped with harder materials or drills capable of high-speed rotation. Others suggest sonic or vibrational cutting methods, though no such tools have been confirmed. The debate does not end with cutting. Once quarried, the granite blocks had to be moved from Aswan. The distance between Aswan and Giza is more than 800 kilometers. Transporting stones of this size and weight over such distance would require immense organizational effort. Some suggest that the stones were floated on boats along the Nile. This is possible for smaller stones. But lifting and lowering 60-ton granite blocks onto and off of boats is a challenge requiring cranes or lifting systems far beyond the tools known to the Egyptians. Even if the stones were transported successfully, they then needed to be moved from the riverbank to the construction site. Sand complicates movement. Heavy objects sink. Dragging massive blocks across loose sand would require constant lubrication and leveling. Some researchers propose pouring water along the sand to reduce friction. While this might work for smaller blocks, the largest stones would still require extraordinary force. Once at the site, the stones had to be lifted into place. The pyramid rises to a height of more than 140 meters. To lift stones weighing tens of tons to these heights, ramps are often proposed. But ramps would need to be massive. A straight ramp with a gentle incline would require more stone than the pyramid itself. A spiral ramp wrapped around the pyramid would make precise alignment almost impossible, as the corners would be obstructed. No physical remains of large construction ramps have been found. It is possible that ramps were dismantled. But no tool marks or stone patterns indicate the ramp's exact design. The precision alignment of the pyramid presents another challenge. The base of the pyramid is nearly perfectly level. Measured across 13 acres, the error is no more than a few centimeters. Achieving this level of flatness requires a surveying method capable of measuring distance, elevation, and angle across huge surface areas. Today, such alignment is done using laser levels, satellite mapping, and surveying equipment with digital calibration. At the time the pyramids were built, no such tools existed. Or none have been found. The orientation of the pyramid to true north is equally astonishing. The deviation from perfect alignment is around 3 arc minutes. This level of precision requires knowledge of Earth's axis, as well as tools to track the rotation of the heavens. Modern scholars propose that Egyptians could have tracked the stars using naked-eye astronomy. But astronomical drift means that stars shift position slowly over centuries. To align the pyramid with such precision implies knowledge of stellar motion and long-term celestial cycles. In addition to technical challenges, the organization of labor is often cited as evidence of Egyptian capability. Worker villages near the pyramids show signs of skilled labor, including bakeries, workshops, and medical care. This indicates a coordinated workforce rather than enslaved labor. These findings support the idea that humans built the pyramids through cooperation and discipline. But organization alone does not explain precision. If the workers had been given instructions containing advanced knowledge of geometry, stress distribution, and astronomy, their labor could have been effective. But that knowledge must come from somewhere. Where? Some researchers propose that such knowledge could have come from an earlier civilization, now forgotten. A civilization destroyed by natural disaster, leaving behind only fragments of its achievements. This is known as the lost civilization theory. The pyramids would then represent inherited knowledge rather than original invention. But the ancient astronaut hypothesis offers a different explanation. Instead of a lost human civilization, it suggests guidance from a non-human intelligence. Visitors to Earth, possessing advanced technology, might have demonstrated techniques for cutting stone, transporting materials, measuring land, aligning structures, and understanding the heavens. Humans, observing and learning, could have followed these instructions. This does not require extraterrestrials to have built the pyramids with their own hands. It suggests collaboration, mentorship, or demonstration. Early humans eager to learn could have replicated techniques passed down from these visitors. Over time, the knowledge might have been mythologized, remembered not as lessons from travelers, but as teachings of gods. The mythology of Egypt supports this interpretation. Gods in Egyptian tradition are not distant spirits. They are described as beings who walked, spoke, and taught. They possessed knowledge. They gave civilization its structure. They ruled for ages before human pharaohs took the throne. If these accounts recorded real encounters, if the so-called gods were advanced beings from another world, then the pyramids stand as a testament to that contact. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not simply a massive architectural structure. It is a monument aligned with the heavens. The precision of its orientation and alignment suggests not only advanced understanding of engineering, but also deep astronomical knowledge. To grasp the significance of this alignment, we must examine how the pyramid relates to the stars, the Earth's rotation, and the celestial movements that define our experience of time. The first and most widely recognized alignment is the orientation of the pyramid to true north. The accuracy of this alignment is extraordinary. The pyramid deviates from true north by only about 3 arc minutes. In practical terms, this deviation is so small that it is nearly imperceptible without modern surveying instruments. How the Egyptians achieved this is one of the great unanswered questions. Mainstream explanations propose that ancient astronomers tracked the position of stars in the sky, particularly the circumpolar stars. These are stars that never set below the horizon and appear to rotate around the north celestial pole. By observing the point around which the stars rotated, ancient astronomers could determine true north. But this process is not straightforward. The north celestial pole is not fixed. It shifts slowly over thousands of years due to axial precession, the slow wobble of Earth's rotational axis. For the alignment to be so precise, the Egyptians would have needed to understand this long-term astronomical shift. They would have needed to track these changes over centuries or to possess knowledge inherited from an earlier age when the position of the stars aligned more clearly with the Earth's axis. The knowledge required to accomplish this suggests a far older or more advanced observational tradition than mainstream history records. The placement of the pyramids on the Giza plateau also appears to encode astronomical meaning. When viewed from above, the layout of the 3 main pyramids corresponds to the 3 stars in the belt of the constellation Orion: Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. This alignment is known as the Orion correlation theory. The idea is that the pyramids were built not only as tombs, but also as mirrors of the cosmos. The Egyptians associated the constellation Orion with Osiris, the god of resurrection, afterlife, and eternal kingship. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris was not only a god, but also a ruler who once walked the earth. He brought laws, knowledge, and culture to humanity. After his death and rebirth, he took his place in the heavens. The pharaohs, considered earthly embodiments of divine order, sought to join Osiris in the afterlife. The pyramids, then, may not have been tombs in a simple physical sense. They may have been instruments designed to guide the soul of the pharaoh to the stars. Inside the Great Pyramid, the internal shafts provide further evidence of astronomical alignment. These shafts extend from the king's chamber and queen's chamber toward specific positions in the sky. Modern measurements show that the shafts were originally aligned with Orion and Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, associated with the goddess Isis, consort of Osiris. Other shafts align with circumpolar stars, those that never set, believed to represent immortality. The shafts are narrow, too narrow for humans to move through. They were not meant for physical passage. Their purpose appears symbolic, spiritual, or energetic. They may have represented a pathway for the Ka, the vital essence of the pharaoh, to travel to the celestial realm. But such symbolic architecture still requires precise knowledge of the sky, of angles, and of stellar movement. The placement of the pyramids relative to the Nile also reflects cosmic symbolism. The Nile, flowing northward, represented the earthly reflection of the Milky Way. The positioning of the pyramid complex on the western side of the Nile connects it with the realm of the dead. In Egyptian belief, the west was where the sun set, and thus where life transitioned into the afterlife. By aligning their greatest monument with the river and the stars, the Egyptians linked earth and sky in a unified symbolic system. The alignment with Orion suggests a specific time frame. When the alignment of the pyramids to Orion is projected backward in time, the closest match appears around 10,500 BCE. At that time, the constellation Orion was positioned in the sky in a way that mirrors the pyramid's layout relative to the Nile and the Milky Way. This leads to one of the most controversial hypotheses in pyramid research, that the design of the pyramid complex is far older than the mainstream dating of around 2,500 BCE. If the alignment corresponds to 10,500 BCE, then the knowledge required to design the pyramids precedes known Egyptian civilization by thousands of years. This suggests the existence of a culture with astronomical understanding and architectural knowledge in a period traditionally associated with hunter-gatherer societies. such a culture would represent a lost chapter of human history. This idea is often linked with theories of ancient cataclysms, whether sudden climate change, flooding, or asteroid impact, that may have erased earlier civilizations. Evidence from geological studies of the Sphinx enclosure suggests erosion patterns caused by heavy rainfall. Such rainfall corresponds to climates that existed not in the time of the pharaohs, but in the earlier era around 10,000 BCE. If the Sphinx is older than the pyramids, or if it was built by a civilization predating dynastic Egypt, then the pyramids may also carry inherited knowledge. The possibility arises that ancient Egypt was the inheritor, not the originator, of a more ancient wisdom tradition. One that survived catastrophe. One that preserved fragments of knowledge through myth, symbol, and ritual. The pharaohs may have sought to emulate or restore a lost order, a golden age remembered in tradition as the time when gods walked among men. This interpretation aligns with the ancient astronaut hypothesis, which proposes that those gods may have been visitors from another world. Their knowledge of astronomy would naturally exceed that of early human societies. They would understand the precession of the equinoxes, stellar movement, the structure of the galaxy. They could align monuments precisely to celestial points because they possessed the means to measure and calculate with accuracy not achieved again until modern science. Whether one interprets these beings as extraterrestrial visitors, survivors of a lost advanced civilization, or mythologized historical figures, the result is the same. The pyramids encode knowledge far beyond what is expected for their time. Their alignment with Orion, Sirius, and the circumpolar stars suggests a worldview that saw the earth and sky as reflections of one another. A worldview in which architecture was not merely functional but cosmological. To build was to echo creation itself. To understand the pyramids as more than physical structures, we must enter the realm of belief, symbolism, and spiritual transformation. The ancient Egyptians did not separate religion from science, nor the physical world from the metaphysical. To them, the universe was a seamless continuum in which matter, spirit, order, and chaos interacted continuously. The pyramids stand at the center of this worldview. They were not simply monuments. They were instruments, devices designed to assist the pharaoh in his journey beyond death. The Egyptians believed that the human being was composed of multiple aspects. The physical body, called the Khat, was only one part. There was the Ka, the life force or vital essence. There was the Ba, the personality or consciousness that could move between worlds. There was the Ak, the transfigured spirit that formed when the Ka and Ba were united after death. For this transformation to occur, the body needed to be preserved and the correct rituals performed. Mummification then was not simply a funerary practice. It was a technology of immortality. The pyramids served as the central mechanism in this transformation. The structure was designed to house the body in a protected chamber deep within the stone. The thick layers of limestone functioned as both physical defense and energetic insulation. The internal passages guided the soul through symbolic stages of the afterlife journey. The geometry of the pyramid itself, rising from a broad square base to a single point, represented the ascent from the material world to a higher plane of existence. In Egyptian cosmology, the pharaoh was not merely a ruler. He was a mediator between earth and the heavens. During life, he upheld Ma'at, the cosmic order, balance, and harmony. After death, he was expected to ascend to the realm of the gods and take his place among them. The pyramid, then, was the vessel for his ascension. It was a bridge between worlds. The internal chambers and passageways of the pyramid reflect this journey. The descending passage leads into the bedrock, symbolic of the underworld. The ascending passage rises toward the upper chambers, representing the path of rebirth. The king's chamber, constructed from massive granite blocks, resonates at a frequency that suggests the structure was designed to interact with sound. Some researchers propose that chanting, drums, or ritual tones were used within the chamber to induce altered states of consciousness. In such a state, the priests and the pharaoh could enact the transformation of the soul. Even the materials chosen for construction held symbolic meaning. Limestone reflected sunlight, shining like a star when the pyramid was originally covered in white casing stones. Granite, used in the inner chambers, contains quartz crystals capable of piezoelectric resonance. When pressure, sound, or vibration interacts with quartz, energy fields can be generated. If this was understood, and the evidence suggests intentional design, then the pyramid acted as a resonant chamber, a type of spiritual engine. The rituals performed inside the pyramid would have been precise, controlled, and deeply symbolic. The opening of the mouth ceremony, performed on the mummy, was believed to restore the senses and consciousness to the deceased. The recitation of the pyramid texts, carved into the walls of later pyramids, provided the pharaoh with instructions, incantations, and affirmations needed to navigate barriers in the afterlife. These texts do not speak of death as an end. They speak of transformation and ascension. One recurring theme in these texts is the pharaoh becoming a star. The goal was not simply to survive in another world. It was to join the circumpolar stars, the imperishable ones that never set. To the Egyptians, these stars represented eternity. The alignment of the narrow shafts inside the pyramid to these stars was not symbolic alone. It was the literal pathway by which the soul traveled to immortality. But there is another layer to this belief system. The pyramids are not simply the pharaoh's path to eternity. They are also messages. The architecture, the alignments, the materials, and the rituals all encode a profound statement. Life is eternal. Consciousness survives death. The universe is ordered and intelligible. This message is not unique to Egypt. Similar concepts appear in Sumerian, Indian, Mayan, and Andean traditions. Cultures separated by vast geography and time share common symbols. The cosmic mountain, the sacred axis, the journey of the soul through the heavens. Some researchers suggest that these similarities are the result of parallel development. Others propose cultural diffusion. But there is a third possibility, that these teachings originated from a single ancient source. If the pyramids are echoes of a lost knowledge tradition, preserved across time, then the rituals inside them may be fragments of a greater philosophical and metaphysical system. A system that understood consciousness not as a byproduct of the brain, but as a fundamental aspect of reality. A system in which the soul is not passive but capable of growth, transformation, and ascension. This brings us back to the question of the architects. If the pyramids were designed as spiritual technology, requiring precise understanding of astronomy, geometry, energy resonance, and metaphysical philosophy, then who possessed such integrated knowledge? Was it the Old Kingdom Egyptians themselves, as the mainstream narrative holds? Or were they inheritors and preservers of knowledge passed down from an earlier epoch? This is where the concept of gods in Egyptian mythology becomes relevant. In many ancient cultures, the gods are not purely supernatural beings. They are teachers, bringers of knowledge, law, and culture. Osiris, for example, is described not simply as a deity, but as a king who lived among humans. Thoth, associated with writing, mathematics, and wisdom, is portrayed as the source of sacred knowledge. These figures could be interpreted symbolically. But they could also be memories. Memories of individuals or beings who possessed extraordinary knowledge, appearing to early humans like gods. The ancient astronaut hypothesis suggests that these beings could have been visitors from another world, or perhaps humans from a lost advanced civilization that existed before recorded history. Their knowledge of the stars, geometry, and consciousness would be far beyond that of early agrarian societies. If they taught the Egyptians, or their ancestors, how to build pyramids, perform rituals, and understand the cosmos, then the pyramids may be relics of an interstellar or intercivilizational legacy. Whether one interprets this hypothesis literally or metaphorically, the implication is the same. The pyramids are not primitive tombs. They are the product of a worldview in which life, death, and the cosmos are intimately connected. They represent humanity reaching upward, physically with stone, spiritually with intention, towards something greater than itself. The pharaoh's ascent was a symbol for all humanity. The pyramid stands as a reminder that the journey does not end with death, that consciousness continues, that the stars are not merely distant lights but destinations. If the pyramids of Egypt were designed with advanced astronomical knowledge, precise geometry, and profound metaphysical intention, then a natural question arises. Are they unique, or are they part of a larger global pattern? When we expand our view beyond the Nile Valley, we find that pyramid-like structures, monumental stoneworks, and celestial alignments appear in cultures separated by continents, oceans, and millennia. This suggests not isolated invention but a shared origin, or the transmission of knowledge from a source older than recorded history. The pyramids of Mesoamerica provide a compelling parallel. The Maya, Aztecs, and Olmecs constructed step pyramids that served as ceremonial centers, astronomical observatories, and ritual platforms. The Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan, for example, is aligned to the rising sun on specific days of the year. Its orientation is not random, it reflects intentional awareness of celestial cycles. The site of Teotihuacan itself, a sprawling, meticulously planned city, reflects a cosmic map. The Avenue of the Dead, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, and the Pyramids of the Sun and Moon appear to encode astronomical knowledge similar in sophistication to that found at Giza. In South America, the Inca civilization built vast structures of interlocking stone blocks at sites like Sacsayhuaman and Machu Picchu. These stones, some weighing tens of tons, fit together without mortar so precisely that a sheet of paper cannot slide between them. The Inca claimed they did not invent these techniques. Instead, they said they inherited them from a race of ancient ones who lived long before. This echoes Egyptian traditions that the earliest monuments were gifts from the gods, or restorations of earlier structures. Further south, at Tiwanaku near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, we find stone structures and monolithic carvings that challenge conventional dating. Some researchers propose that the site could be over 10,000 years old, based on astronomical alignment and geological evidence. The Gate of the Sun, carved from a single massive block, features celestial motifs that suggest knowledge of the solar year, equinoxes, and possibly even precession, the same long-duration astronomical cycle encoded in the pyramids of Egypt. Across the Pacific, in Polynesia, we find stone temples and navigational knowledge that enabled long-distance sea travel guided by stars. The Polynesians understood the sky not as myth alone, but as a functional map of movement and time. In Hawaii, the heiau structures, stone platforms aligned with solstices and star paths, show the same integration of earth and sky seen in Egyptian design. In the eastern Mediterranean, the ancient city of Baalbek in Lebanon contains megalithic stone blocks among the largest ever moved by humans. Some weigh more than 1,000 tons. No modern crane can lift them. Yet they were precisely placed into foundational walls. Their purpose remains unclear. The Romans built temples atop the platform, but the platform itself appears vastly older. The workmanship resembles neither Roman nor Greek construction, but something more ancient, perhaps belonging to a civilization whose engineering capacity we have not fully understood. These patterns are not limited to one region or one era. They span continents. They transcend cultural boundaries. They share key characteristics: a monumental stone architecture, precise alignments with stars or solar cycles, symbolism of death and rebirth, and mythologies of culture bringers or gods, claims of inherited, not invented, knowledge. This raises a profound possibility that many ancient civilizations did not independently develop their monumental architecture, astronomy, and metaphysics, but instead inherited aspects of a shared legacy. For this legacy to exist, there must have been a culture, or contact, predating these civilizations. One advanced enough to understand mathematics, astronomy, stone engineering, acoustics, and cosmology. A culture capable of encoding knowledge not in language alone, but in architecture that endures across ages. This brings us to the hypothesis of a prehistoric global civilization. One that may have flourished before the end of the last ice age, a time when sea levels were lower and climate patterns different. Around 12,000 years ago, the Earth experienced dramatic shifts: massive glacial melt, sea level rise, and climate destabilization. Continents changed shape. Coastal cities, if they existed, would now lie beneath the ocean. If a civilization existed then, most of its material culture could be lost. For decades, this idea was speculative. But discoveries are changing the narrative. Off the coast of Japan, near Yonaguni, lie underwater stone formations resembling steps, walls, and terraces. In India's Gulf of Cambay, sonar imaging has revealed submerged structures with geometric patterns. In Indonesia, at Gunung Padang, excavations suggest that a pyramid-like structure beneath the surface may be over 20,000 years old, far older than any pyramid in Egypt or Mesoamerica. These finds challenge the linear model of human progress, the idea that civilization began only around 3000 BCE. Instead, they point to the possibility of rise, collapse, and renewal. Civilizations may flourish, fall, and be forgotten, leaving traces in myth and monument. The question then becomes, if an advanced civilization existed so long ago, where did its knowledge go? One answer lies in stories of gods, heroes, and culture bringers found in almost every ancient tradition. The Sumerians speak of the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the sky to teach humanity. The Egyptians speak of Osiris and Thoth. The Maya speak of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god who brought knowledge and then departed, promising to return. The Polynesians speak of navigators from a distant homeland beyond the horizon. The Dogon people of Mali possessed knowledge of the star Sirius and its companion star Sirius B, knowledge that modern astronomy confirmed only recently. These traditions may not be literal accounts, but they may not be mere inventions either. They could be cultural memories, fragments of encounters with individuals or beings possessing extraordinary knowledge. Whether these beings were from a terrestrial civilization lost to time, or extraterrestrial visitors, is the central question of the ancient astronaut hypothesis. What we know is this: the pyramids of Egypt stand not alone, but as part of a global pattern of monumental architecture, celestial alignment, and mythic remembrance. They are one chapter in a larger story, a story of humanity reaching beyond its present limits. If this is true, then the pyramids are more than historical relics. They are messages from a time when knowledge, science, spirituality, and the cosmos were understood as one. They challenge us to reconsider our origins, our history, and our place in the universe. We now arrive at the heart of the hypothesis, the idea that the pyramids may not have been designed solely by human hands, but under instruction or guidance from beings possessing knowledge far beyond that of early human civilization. To many, this suggestion may seem bold, perhaps even fantastical. But to evaluate the ancient astronaut hypothesis, we must approach it not with belief or denial, but with a clear and open mind. The question is not whether extraterrestrial contact must have occurred, but whether the evidence makes such contact plausible or worth considering. Let us begin with the testimonies of the ancient civilizations themselves. In Egyptian tradition, many of the earliest kings and teachers are not described as ordinary humans. The Palermo stone and other early king lists speak of the Shem-Suhor, the followers of Horus, who ruled Egypt before the dynastic era. Their reigns stretch across thousands of years, long before the accepted timeline of Egyptian civilization. They are depicted as taller, wiser, and possessing knowledge that appeared fully formed rather than developed gradually. Similarly, the figure of Osiris is described not as an abstract god but as a king who lived among humans, taught agriculture, laws, culture, and then departed. Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, mathematics, and science, is said to have authored the books of knowledge that formed the foundation of Egyptian civilization. He is often depicted with the head of an ibis, but this may be symbolic, representing his association with learning, not his literal form. The Sumerians, another early civilization, described the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the heavens to teach humans skills such as agriculture, astronomy, and governance. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, is described as a teacher who came from across the sea and eventually returned to the stars. In ancient India, the Vedas describe flying vehicles called vimanas, piloted by beings who traveled between worlds. Across cultures, across continents, across millennia, the same story repeats. Knowledge came from above. Not slowly through trial and error, but suddenly like a gift, or a memory restored. If we take these stories not as literal accounts, but as cultural recollections of encounters with advanced beings, the pattern becomes clearer. Now, to evaluate whether extraterrestrial involvement in the construction of the pyramids is possible, we examine three key areas: engineering and logistics, astronomical precision, symbolic and cultural testimony. We have already seen that the engineering of the Great Pyramid exceeds the expected capacity of its supposed era. The cutting, shaping, and placement of millions of limestone and granite blocks, some weighing over 60 tons, would challenge modern machinery. The joints between blocks are so precise that even a modern razor blade cannot fit between them. We have seen that the astronomical alignment of the pyramid complex reflects knowledge of precession, a cycle that takes nearly 26,000 years. Such knowledge cannot be gained through casual observation or short-term study. It requires either extreme time depth or advanced astronomical tools. We have seen that the pyramid's internal structure and materials suggest acoustic resonance and energy manipulation, concepts not incorporated into mainstream interpretations of ancient engineering. Taken together, these point to a level of sophistication that is difficult to explain by conventional historical progression. But what if the Egyptians were not alone? What if they were the students, not the inventors, of this knowledge? There are two primary forms of the ancient astronaut hypothesis. Hypothesis A: extraterrestrial visitors physically came to Earth in the distant past, shared knowledge, and influenced the development of civilization. Hypothesis B: humanity once possessed advanced civilization before a global catastrophe, and extraterrestrial contact occurred even earlier, shaping that lost civilization. In both cases, the pyramids are not the beginning of knowledge but the preservation of knowledge. Let us look again at the figure of Thoth. In later Greek tradition he was identified as Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the thrice great, a being described not as human but as a divine messenger of knowledge. The Hermetica, attributed to him, state that long before Egypt, there was an earlier age in which humanity lived in harmony with cosmic law. When disaster approached, perhaps the end of the last ice age, the knowledge of the cosmos was encoded into stone so that it would not be lost. This aligns with the idea that the pyramids are messages in architecture, messages intended to survive fire, flood, war, and time. Stone endures where scrolls do not. If the pyramids encode knowledge, the question becomes, knowledge from whom? The possibility of extraterrestrial life is no longer fringe speculation. Modern astronomy confirms that planets orbit nearly every star. Many are inhabitable zones. If intelligent life arose on even a tiny fraction of these worlds, there could be civilizations millions of years older than ours. Their technology would not simply be more advanced, it would be incomprehensibly more advanced. Just as early humans would seem primitive to us, we would appear primitive to them. If such beings visited Earth, whether to study, guide, observe, or seed knowledge, they would naturally be remembered as gods. Their abilities would appear supernatural. Their presence would shape myth. There is also the question of motivation. Why would advanced beings visit Earth? Several possibilities exist. To study emerging intelligent life. To ensure the survival of knowledge after a planetary catastrophe. To guide the development of consciousness. To maintain cosmic balance as portrayed in myth. Or simply curiosity, the same force that drives human exploration today. If the pyramids were constructed with guidance from such beings, they may represent interfaces, points of contact between worlds, eras, or dimensions. This does not require the idea that aliens physically lifted stone blocks. The work could have been done by humans, directed, trained, or inspired, using techniques now lost. In many depictions the gods do not build. They teach. And this matches the historical record. Egyptian civilization appears suddenly with writing, architecture, astronomy, religion, and governance already fully formed. There is no clear developmental stage. It begins at a high point and gradually declines, the opposite of what we would expect. This pattern appears globally. Knowledge begins advanced, then decays. The pyramids, then, may not represent the peak of ancient achievement. They may represent the echo of something far greater. A message. A memory. A monument designed not only for the past but for the future. For us. To remind us that we are part of a larger universe. That intelligence is not confined to Earth. That consciousness extends beyond death. That the cosmos is alive with presence. And that our story has deeper origins than we have been taught.